So today it was finally revealed that Jaleel White passed on a Family Matters reboot, he said around 2013, 2014, when Fuller House became big. But Fuller House didn't premiere on Netflix until 2016. So I think around 2016 or 2017 was when there was talk of that behind closed doors. So there probably was an idea for a Family Matters reboot back then, but he turned it down. Speaking of Family Matters, I had an idea as well to reboot the series. My friend I worked with at Audiences Unlimited knew so many people, but in the end it was just all talk. She may have known people, but nothing was getting done. So I wrote a pilot. I wrote like a 10-episode description of what would have happened in the series in the first season, if it was going to Netflix. And then I had some ideas for like 13 episodes, or if they get the back 9, if there was a 22-episode order for, a network series. So I actually wrote a pilot that I was bashed at back in like maybe 2015. I think it was when Fuller House came out. And they were like, oh, you need to have all these jokes one after another or it's going to suck. So I took the idea I had on fanfiction.net or wherever I had the thing posted, and I revised it and revised it and revised it and changed things around and changed characters around. And my idea for Family Matters Reboot was as follows. It would have focused on the retirement of Carl Winslow. He was retiring, stepping down as, I believe he would have been chief of police by this time. He would have been chief of police. And Eddie is still a cop. And then, for some reason, he's getting passed by at big jobs as well. And he's having it tough to make rent. And then he married a lounge singer a couple of years after 1998. And they had 2 daughters together who were around maybe 7, 8 years old. And then Laura and Steve are married. They married, I believe, after 1998. And originally they were supposed to have a kid in the series finale, I believe named Stephanie, if the series came back for a 10th season back in 98 to 99. So I kind of kept that idea of that character, but I had her born a few years after that. So when the series comes back, as Family Still Matters, I believe the character of Stephanie would have been like 14 and in high school. And her younger brother would have been Stevie Jr. It would have been Steve and Laura's son. He would have been the spitting image of Steve, and he would have hated being a geek. He would hate it. And he would love science, but he would suck at it, unlike his father. Like, he would just get everything wrong. Simple things. Like, he wasn't a wizard like Steve was. And Steve would have been overseas working on some kind of invention or flying car or something. I don't know. And that would have been the reason if Jaleel White didn't want to be there. We could have had him, even if he wanted to just do a video call or something and film a scene elsewhere or just be on the phone unspoken. And then if he wanted to be there, we could have had him there and at the end of the pilot for surprise or other episodes as well. But the new focus would have been on the little new Steve Jr. and his sister. And then Rachel would have came back, the character of Rachel, and it would have been explained that when she left to visit her sick aunt years ago, she did like volunteer work at a prison and fell in love with some ex-con who was wrongfully accused and in jail. And he was getting out in 1999, but then there was a prison riot, so it was just as he was about to get out, he was killed. And Rachel since then has not dated, and in the new series, she finally starts dating again, and then it's revealed, she reveals what happened back when she visited her aunt. And then her boyfriend would have proposed to her by the season finale of the first season. So my friend that I knew at the shows, we're going to do it, we're going to do it. I know this one, I know that one. Nothing happened. But then I had another friend who I met in 2008 who knew Telma Hopkins and who had all these numbers. So actually, when I moved home in 2020, I believe it was, or early 2021, she was doing her calls. We were on the phone, and she mentioned to Telma the storyline I had for her, and Telma was like, wow, that's pretty intense. But, it could be feasible because her character had left the show for a while, toward the end. So it would have been nice to see what she would have been up to during those times she was away. And then, my friend, she called Reginald VelJohnson's agent, and he told her, I was on the phone too, so he told us, he said, this is trying to be done already. A lot of people have been trying to make a Family Matters reboot, but it's hard because the ABC owned the rights, and now CBS owns the rights. So it's going to be hard to get through that because they're owned by a different studio now. And then my friend started giving him the idea I had for the pilot. He goes, don't give me the idea. Don't give me any stories. Just tell me what you want to do, but don't tell me the idea of it. And she started telling him the idea. And I was like, oh my God. So he got mad. And then he's like, oh, this conversation's over. But I could say, we got it out there a little bit. We actually spoke to some of the agents and managers, and my friend spoke to Telma about it. So it was probably different than what they had planned when they were approaching Jaleel. But that was my idea. That was just some of what would have happened. Laura would have been in business with Maxine. They would have sold clothing, and Waldo would have been married to Maxine, and he would have owned a bistro. And the kids, Eddie's kids, would have wanted to start a band with Steve and Laura's daughter, and little Steve Jr. would have sucked at singing, but he would have been great at writing. So they would have been all together. He would have written, and they would have sang in a band of 3 girls together or something. And those are just some of my ideas I would have had if that would have happened. But, pipe dreams.